Before we get started about SEO, let us try to understand that what are the basic necessities before even we start thinking about SEO. Now, SEO. Of course, when you search about it, you will get the definition, search engine optimization. But does that mean that once you read the Wikipedia page or the best article, will you be able to rank it? No, absolutely not. And this is why we should be understanding from the very basics, and we should be having the mindset of growing organic rather than just going and reading the definition. And when I say the mindset, it basically means that having a good mindset towards business, that how can you cut the cost on marketing and how can you grow without spending a lot of money. The general definition of business. Absolutely. Now, let us go one by one and let us try to understand that what exactly are the pillars of having a very good SEO website. Now, the very first thing is you must be having a good website, right? And when I say a good website, it doesn't mean that you need to have a website like Apple. You shouldn't be having a website like Google. It doesn't mean that you should be having something like Amazon, Flipkart, or Oyo, or maybe whatever you would like to say. It doesn't mean any of those. It means that your website should be easy to understand. Your website should be following the general principles of HTML. It means that your website should not be taking a lot of time to load. And all of these, if you combine with 107 other factors, that means that you must be having a very good pillars of the technical SEO, on-page SEO and off-page SEO. Now, if you can look around this, there are more than 220 parameters which are considered. Now, do you need to follow all those 220 parameters to rank on Google? Probably not, but we'll be highlighting most of them going forward so you can focus on them and then you can put your efforts in improving your search engine optimization. Let us go one by one. The technical SEO. Technical SEO is part of your website. That means that from the time you start developing your very first web page, you need to focus on this. And if you are choosing a popular CMS like WordPress or Joomla or Drupal, your work is going to be reduced. And in fact, most of the closed source or software as a service blogging platforms also have this basics cleared. In this video series, I will be focusing on the most popular CMS, which is freely available, and you can download that, you can use that, you can build a complete website on that, and we'll be focusing because it will be accessible to you without any additional cost to your hosting or domain, right? So let us go forward. So as we were discussing about, should you have a lot of developers in your team? Do you need to know code to develop website? Do you need to go and study computer science engineering? Do you need to go and study C language and all these computer jargons and computer languages to build website? The answer is not really. You don't need to, because there are a lot of softwares available which you can use without having to learn code from scratch. Because who likes code? Do you? Well, I'm a computer science engineer. I like it, but that doesn't mean that you have to. And if there are tools available, why to spend a lot of time in building something from scratch? You don't reinvent the wheel. You use whatever is available and you move forward. So for this video series, let us consider WordPress as an example. And in this, we'll be considering some of the general factors which will be very, very important for the technical SEO. Let's go one by one. To explain you the technical SEO, I'll be taking you inside a presentation. This presentation will be available to be downloaded, and a Google Sheet version of this will also be available in the description. You'll be able to copy that and you'll be able to fulfill all these needs by fixing them one by one, and these will be available for free. Alright, let us go inside it. The very first thing is mobile phone responsiveness. Mobile phone responsiveness is important because most of the devices and most of the visitors today you'll be getting will likely be from mobile, unless you have a B2B product. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a recipe website, who are the people who will likely be visiting your website? Well, it's the people who want to cook food. And where they will be visiting from? They will be likely visiting from their kitchen. Now, in kitchen, who keeps their laptop? No one, almost no one, unless there is a geek who wants to make it happen. And almost 99.9% of the cases, people will be using their mobile phone while cooking. That means that if you have any kind of recipe related website or anything which has to do something with consumer, your website should be responsive. And most of the time you will find it that mobile phone responsiveness has become a very general thing to optimize for, and it is something which is very, very important. There are themes available, there are frameworks available, and then there are CMS available which comes by default with this feature, and you don't need to worry much about it unless you are a developer who do not know to optimize your CSS. The next most important thing is optimize website for the speed and performance. Now, imagine a website which takes almost 14-15 seconds and still it is saying that it is loading. Wouldn't you be irritated with that? Absolutely, you will be. So in that case, what happens that the website visitors lose interest, and then because they lose interest, your website should be fast to load. And if your website have a lot of content, then make sure that the first fold of the website, which is also known as the first view of the website, should be optimized. It should be loading, and the general speed optimization timing is considered around 2 seconds. But don't worry about this 2 seconds, because if you can load the most important content, which is the very first fold of the content, in first 2 seconds, then you have enough time to optimize the second, third and next fold for your user. So make sure that the first fold is quite well optimized, and most of the website do not load under 2 seconds. They take more time, but the overall optimization should be done for the first fold of the website, and once you are able to manage that, then you have more time to optimize for the rest. The third one is XML sitemap. Now, XML sitemap is important because it lists all the pages of your website, and once you list all these pages on this XML sitemap, what you do is you take this sitemap and you go to Google Search Console, and then you verify your website, and then you give this sitemap to Google so that Google can come and crawl all the pages and give specific ranking which the web pages deserve. The next one is robot.txt. Although robot.txt have become quite common among all the websites, but still there are custom websites which lacks this. And if you are making your website custom, then make sure that you have robot.txt. And if you do not have, don't worry about it. Google will by default consider this to be indexed, but in case you have login pages or any dashboard pages which shouldn't be crawled by Google, then in that case you should definitely have robot.txt, excluding all those pages from search engine. And if you want to know what could be the general things which should be part of robot.txt, just look at the description and you will have more information about it, and you'll be able to write your robot.txt properly. The next one is optimize meta tags. Now, meta tags are part of website. These tags are often not visible to you. They are visible sometime in the tab name, but they are often not visible when you are on the web page. But when you go on Google and when you search specific things, then a list of web pages pop up, and they pop up with the name which they have been given by the webmaster or the web designer or the website SEO optimizer, right? And these names are often the names which is given in their meta title. That means that this meta title is visible, the meta description is visible, maybe if there is anything called schema, then that is visible, and all this information should be available on the web page. Although meta title, meta description and schema tags are not visible once you are on the landing page, but they are definitely visible when someone is searching them on Google. So that's something which you should be definitely completing. The next one is the proper heading structure. Although Google has said several times that proper heading structure is not very important these days, because they are able to crawl and they are able to structure. Their artificial intelligence crawlers are good enough that they are able to collect the data and they are able to process it in the backend. But still, search engines like Bing, DuckDuckGo and Yandex still have this issue. So it is always better that you maintain the general tree structure, which is basically maintaining one H1 and under that maintaining H2s, and under H2 you have H3s and descriptions about the topic which you are mentioning. So these things should be maintained. The next important thing you should be focusing is fixing your broken links. Now, broken links has been part of SEO optimization for a very long time. There have been a lot of theories around it. When you have broken links, you don't get the whole link juice. Link juice is a terminology which is used to define the authority, the trustworthiness which Google considers. And when you have this broken pages, Google considers that as a bad experience. So whenever you have it, you try to redirect that to any other page, or maybe you try to create a page there, and whatever is relevant, take decision on that and try to not have 404 pages. SSL, which is also known as HTTPS, which runs on port 443 of your server, has become a standard since 2016. And if you are someone who is still running on HTTP, try to implement HTTPS. Although all the web hosting providers or all the cloud providers have the integration of OpenSSL. That means that you don't have to pay to get HTTPS. You can simply have OpenSSL and that will do the job. And if you are someone who is still running on HTTP, try to upgrade it, because now it won't cost you money to do that. And if you are someone who is like Amazon or someone who has a lot to do with finance or security of the website, then in that case you can definitely go and purchase more secure SSL, which can be more private to your company, and your customers' data will be protected. The next one we have is image optimization. Now, alt tag has been in the industry for a very long time, and it has been suggested by Google for years and years. Now, why does it really matter? Well, it matters because Google crawlers often try to understand that what this image is about. Of course, they run their AI on the top of image, but still they have this question that is this image relevant? Is this image the right image to be shown as a part of this web page? And when you give this context, Google feels comfortable. And it's not just about Google, it's also about Bing, it's also about Yandex, and it's also about other search engines which are growing now as a competitor of Google. So make sure that you have these. Now you can also say that ChatGPT and other large language models have been coming in the picture, and for them to understand the context, if you have all these things in a proper manner, it will be easier for them to understand it. So make sure that you have these, and then it will be helpful not just for SEO but also for chat engine optimization, if you would like to say CEO. What can I say? It's becoming a thing. The next one you have is schema. Now, schema is basically a JSON tag which is part of website. It can also be general HTML, but often you'll see that JSON has been part of it. And to implement schema, you don't need to do a lot of work. You can just go to the tool which I'll be mentioning in the description, and you can just choose that what kind of schema you are willing to generate. Maybe it might be a website schema, maybe a blog, maybe local business. And you can choose any of these. There are many available in the list, and then you can fill specific details and you can copy that and you can embed in the web page. If it's a website schema, you can embed on all the pages. If it is just an article schema, you can embed in specific article. And if you're using WordPress, you don't even need to go to the tool. You can simply install Rank Math, and Rank Math by default will ask you to fill all this information. And once you go to the web page while writing article or while writing web page, they may also ask you to submit that page specific schema, and you can fill that, and then you can enjoy schema without touching the code. The next one is canonical tags. Now, canonical tags has been in existence for a very long time. Especially you should be caring about this if you have a multilingual website. That means that, let us say that you are a web developer who is developing website for Apple, and Apple is available in English, it is also available in Hindi, it is also available in Italian and German and all these languages. And if you see, Apple sells the same product on all these different web pages. So to make Google understand that all these web pages are selling the same thing, but these are different version of the same web page in different languages, if you want to tell this to Google, you use canonical tags. And canonical tags is very, very important because it helps Google in understanding that what this web page is about. And this also solves the problem of having localization and proper result for localization. That means that, let's say that iPhone 17 has been launched, and iPhone 17 web pages will be live in all these countries. Now, how Google will understand that which web page to rank for that specific country? Now, Google can of course go and detect the language and make it happen, but it becomes easier for Google if you have this canonical tags. So if someone is searching that from Germany, automatically German specific web page will be live there and it will be ranking. If someone is searching the same from USA, then English content will be ranking. So it helps you basically in localizing your content and prioritizing the result in specific geolocations, and also avoids confusion which can happen due to multiple web pages and having the same meaning of the titles, description, or the whole web page. Generating canonical tag is quite easy. I will be mentioning a tool in the description using which you will be able to generate different type of canonical tags. The next one we have is internal link optimization. Now, internal link optimization is very important. The next one we have is internal links. Now, imagine that you have a website and on the website you have 10 pages and all these 10 pages are separate web pages and none of them are linking each other. What will happen? People will be coming to the main website. Will they be able to go to other web page? Yes, they will be, but they will have to type the whole URL. But if you mention that specific link as part of that web page with a clear navigation that this is what this web page is about, just like how general menu is structured like home, about, contact us, services, blog. If you mention these things clearly, it becomes easier for the visitor and it also becomes easier for the crawlers to crawl all of those. Now, crawlers can of course take all of these from the sitemap, but you have to make these things easy for the customers as well. And not just making it easier, the also important factor here is that the search juice or the authority which is there on the home page gets distributed through this link. And there is a formula to this. The total amount of authority divided by number of links flowing is the amount of link flowing to one link, right? Don't worry about this math. It's not that important, but basically you need to understand that you should have this so that the authority distribution happens and your users do not get confused about it. Now, there are exceptional scenarios, for example, a landing page, a dedicated landing page where this link should not be mentioned, and in those cases, of course, you shouldn't mention that. But when you talk about general homepage, blog, or you talk about any other page which has the general information about product and service, then in those cases, you should definitely define all these links, and they help user navigate to the right page, and it also helps the crawlers in navigating to those pages. The next one that is important is mobile first indexing. Now, this terminology got coined just in the last 4 or 5 years, but it is something which is quite important. As Android took over on all these computers, what eventually happened that more number of mobile phone users came to the website, and that made mobile phone experience as priority, and Google took this decision to introduce something called mobile first indexing. That means that now once you build your website, you should consider mobile users first, and then in secondary you should consider desktop users. Yes, I know in some cases it doesn't make sense, but considering the whole user base, mobile users are more in size, and for that reason Google have considered that mobile first indexing is important, and you should focus on this if you have anything which is consumer facing, and consumers will be able to consume content. Google will be able to prioritize them and it will be happening. Now, you don't have to be developer to do it again. Most of the CMS have this feature by default and you don't need to worry, especially if you choose something like WordPress, Joomla and all this open source CMS, or you talk about other CMS as well which is made responsive, then you don't need to worry about it. There are more details to this which we'll be talking in the future videos, but to keep this video minimal, I'm going on the most important topics. The next one is pagination and architecture of the website. Now, pagination is very important because once you have long content, let us say that you have 200 articles, can you show 200 articles on a single archive page? No, you should not, and you cannot. Of course you can do, but the user will have to maybe wait for 20 seconds to just the web page to load with images and all these assets will be loading. So in this case, what happens that you often break the web page into multiple pages, and you have seen that likely on some website And just like that, you should be creating the pagination, and you should make sure that you have the right ahref tag associated so that Google doesn't get confused. And once you mention this, Google will be clear that there is next page on which the next of the content is available, and there are other pages on which the content is divided into. The next one is website hierarchy and URL optimization. Now, website hierarchy, what is it? Well, basically, when you build website, what you'll find is this website follow a certain strategy. If you remember, we talked about this in the beginning of the video, which was going around, there should be a tree structure. Let us say that you have an e-commerce website, then your e-commerce website should be having the structure. Let us say that your e-commerce website is selling 3 different types of products. Let's say your website is abc.com, and under that you are selling electronic products, you are also selling something related to health, and you are also selling something related to fashion. The next one is canonical tags. Now, canonical tags might not be very important if you are just building a blog application using WordPress, because it already have that. But let us say that you are building an application which actually takes article from other website and then it publishes here. That in that case, you should mention using the canonical tags so that Google can understand that this is just another copy of the other article which is here, and the original article is actually published on some other website. The next one is href lang tags and regional tags, and these are basically lang tags, basically means language tags. And let us say that if you have a single website and you have multiple version of the web page available for different languages, then in that case you should be using this href lang tags to tell that these all pages are of the same product and they are just available in different languages. This helps Google in understanding that these pages should be prioritized in those specific regions. For example, if it is in German and if you have a German web page in your website, then you should use this href lang tags to mention that there are other version of the web page which is available and this should be prioritized, right? So Google automatically considers that prioritization, but the whole point is that you should mention that so that Google can understand that there are different versions of these web pages. Next one is website hierarchy and URL structuring. Now, many times you might have seen that when you open Facebook, facebook.com/p and then followed by a profile ID or PID. It is important for Facebook because the ID helps them in resolving the post, that which post it belongs to, and finding out the content related to that. But as you come in WordPress, what you will find out that WordPress also uses something called PID, and PID is basically a unique ID which is associated with all the posts. So if you have 5 posts, maybe the first post will have PID of 1, then next will be 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not necessary that it will follow this series, but the whole point is every post have a unique ID. Now, it's important because engineering wise, these systems are built this way so that it can be easy for the backend system to find these out. And URL structure is important to structure the whole web pages so that users, the general users, as well as the general users and the search engine, so that the general users and general people can see that URL structure and understand it. Many times you might have seen that there is something like abc.com/shop/sewing machine usha1237. Now, usha1237 is the product URL, and the shop in between is basically the taxonomy of the shop, and then before that you have the domain name, right? So this URL structure is followed for a simple e-commerce website. As you go further, you will see more and more complex website. For example, there can be something like shiksha.com, which is an educational website quite popular in India, and you will find that out that the URL structure here is quite different. And it is different because they want to maintain and keep things clear for the users as well as the search engine. Website hierarchy and URL structuring is also important for SEO. It is important for user experience, it is important for SEO, and it is also important for the engineering system. Now, there are many ways to follow it. You can follow the directory structure, something like abc.com/Bangalore/ a specific region of Bangalore, and then you can put that college name. But that is something which can become complex over a period of time. So Shiksha followed this strategy of keeping it simple, for example, /Bangalore/colleges, and then They followed the general strategy, which is siksha.com/college and then followed by the college name. Now all this strategy can be mixed and matched to get a desired result, but the whole point is you build a system which is easy for the users as well as the engineering system as well as the search engines to crawl properly, and you don't make the whole system complex. So that's the goal, and you should keep that in mind while you are building custom applications. The next one is 301 redirection. Now, many times you have web pages on your website and you want to delete them. And once you delete them, those pages become not available for people. A lot of users visit those pages and they see 404 error. Now, there are many use cases in which you change your website domain to another website. Let's say, for example, you are changing from abc.com to xyz.com, and in this case you just take the file and you push it on the other server, and then you feel that everything is working correctly. If you are someone who thinks that this was the process to move it correctly, it is not. What you also need to do is you need to do this 301 redirects. Once you have this 301 redirection done to the right pages, you will see that the most of the link juice, maybe 99% of the link juice, will be flowing to the new website. And if you do not make it in the right way, what will eventually happen that you will lose most of the traffic which you are receiving on the first website, abc.com, and you will have to do a lot of work from scratch to make XYZ rank, and that will be another set of work, another set of resources, and a lot of hard work which will be put in the picture. So while you are trying to migrate it, make sure that all these URLs which have been existing on the first website is redirecting with 301 redirection to the new website, and it will be done successfully. Although it takes time, 2 to 3 months to everything to happen successfully, but the whole period that you should do the redirecting correctly so it happens. While you do all of this, there are 3 tools which will help you in making this in the right way. One, starting from Google Search Console. It's a free tool offered by Google which basically tracks the issues on your web page and gives you notification on the kind of mistakes you have made. If you have schema level issues, it gives you a notification that you have the issue. And as you dig deeper, you will see that Google has defined very good dashboard on which you'll be able to find out issues with the web page. It might be performance related issue, it might be core web vitals, or it might be higher landing page time. And then all this thing is very clearly mentioned, and that becomes a very important factor to allocate work for your web developer to what to work on. And using this tool, you'll be also be able to find out for which keyword you are ranking, which pages are getting more and more traffic, and they should be prioritized for the performance. So these are the metrics which should be considered, and Google Search Console will definitely help you. The second tool which can help you is Google Analytics, and third one is little advanced one, but it will help you a lot in doing a lot of SEO related work as Screaming Frog. Now Screaming Frog is free for 500 pages, but if you have more pages, you can definitely purchase the premium one and you can work around. Screaming Frog is a wholesome tool which helps you it helps you in doing a lot of SEO work, which will take a lot of time if you do it manually. But if you are a pro SEO, then you should definitely consider that. If you just want to explore it, just download the free version and make it work, and it will definitely help you in reducing a lot of work which you will be generally doing it manually, right? So I hope that the video was interesting for you and you understood the core technical SEO part, and then now we will be moving towards on-page SEO, where we'll be discussing other important factors like keyword research, keyword optimization, intent optimization, overall experience, call to action, and all these things. And we'll be seeing that how it should be taken care on that. I hope that you are excited. Take a break, and then I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.